Willow rose and adjusted the feeding bag beside the four-poster bed, her fingers brushing against the cool brass stand that matched the ornate ceiling medallions overhead. She hummed a tune. Sunlight filtered through stained glass, casting jewel-toned patterns across the patient's still face and the antique Persian rug beneath her sensible white shoes. "The roses are blooming in the garden today, Mr. Thorne," she whispered, tucking the silk duvet around his motionless form. "Yellow ones, just like the ones in your photo album." A quiet laugh escaped her as she filled the feeding bag with trained hands. "I truly believe someday you'll see them again, and on that day, the sun will shine just for you." The hairs on the back of her neck suddenly prickled. She turned towards the mahogany door, but there was no one there, only the long, empty corridor beyond, its shadows deepening as afternoon light retreated from the windows. Her smile faded as she returned to her task, shoulders tense beneath her crisp white uniform. This sensation had become familiar when tending to Mr. Thorne, that crawling awareness of being observed. She'd named it now, the eyes. Sometimes she imagined she could hear breathing, soft and within reach, or catch the faintest scent of sandalwood cologne that didn't belong to her bedridden patient. The Thorne estate sprawled like a sleeping beast, with its east and west wings stretching into gardens that had outlived generations. Countless rooms sat pristine but unused, preserved in amber for ghosts who never arrived. Only Mr. Thorne and his son Eden occupied this mausoleum of wealth that sat on cliffs overlooking the vast seas, while the staff, maids, cooks, groundskeepers, security guards, fled at sunset like sensible creatures escaping the tide. Whatever watched her wasn't them. Willow had begun to wonder if old houses, like old men, develop consciousness after decades of silent witness. She turned back to her patient and forced a smile, the corners of her mouth stiff as starch linen. "Just the old house settling," she whispered, though Mr. Thorne couldn't hear her. The lie was a balm she applied daily, to herself more than to him. When twilight bled through the stained glass, casting the room in bruised purple, she completed her final duties, adjusting his feeding tube, recording his vitals, smoothing his silver hair against the monogram pillowcase. Then she descended the grand staircase, each step creaking like arthritic joints beneath the plush runner. Her nursing shoes squeaked against marble as she approached the library, where without fail Eden Thorne would be waiting. Willow's knuckles hovered just before the carved mahogany door. Her weekly paycheck, more than a monthly salary at County General, flashed in her mind. She knocked, the sound swallowed by the vastness of the corridor. When Eden looked up from his desk, Willow gave him a gentle smile. "I'm done for the evening, sir. Your father is all taken care of and should be set till morning. Of course, if there's any problems, you can always call me." The library was a cavern of mahogany and leather, smelling of aged paper and faint metallic tang of the stormy weather brewing outside. Eden sat behind a massive desk of carved oak, the green glow of a banker's lamp casting long skeleton shadows across his sharp features. When he looked up, his eyes didn't just meet hers, they seemed to anchor her to the floor. He didn't blink for a long moment, watching the way the soft light caught her golden hair. To him, she looked like a saint descending into a tomb. "You're always so formal, Willow," Eden said, his voice a smooth, low baritone that seemed to vibrate in the quiet room. "I've told you. Sir is for the dying man upstairs. To me, you are just Willow." He stood up, his movements fluid and predatory, though he kept a polite distance. He walked towards her, his hands tucked casually into the pockets of his slack. "My father is lucky to have you. Most nurses treat him like a chore, a fading body to be turned and medicated. But you?" He paused, stopping just a foot away. He was close enough that Willow could smell his cologne, sandalwood and something sharper, You handle him as if he still matters. It's a rare kind of empathy. Where does a girl from the trailer courts learn to be so soft? The mention of her neighborhood sent a tiny prickle of unease down Willow's spine. She hadn't remembered telling him exactly where she grew up. It's just how I was raised, I suppose, Willow replied, her voice steady but her smile faltering just a fraction. I should get going. Mark is waiting for me to start dinner. Eden's expression didn't change, but his pupils seemed to dilate, his eyes narrowing momentarily. He reached out, his fingers hovering agonizingly close to her shoulder. Before he brushed a piece of lint off her nurse's uniform, his touch was cold. Mark, he repeated, the name sounding like a slur in his mouth. The mechanic. Right. It's a shame he makes you drive that rusted-out sedan in this weather. It isn't safe, Willow. A delicate thing like you. One slick turn on the canyon road, and you'd be at the mercy of the dark. His lips curled upwards, not in warmth, but in the careful mimicry of it, the way a wolf might bare its teeth in something humans mistake for a smile. Be careful tonight, he whispered. The world is much more dangerous than you realize. Willow's shoulders dropped the moment the estate wrought iron gates disappeared in her rear view mirror. She cranked down the window an inch, gulping air that didn't taste like medicine and wealth. I love my job, but Mr. Eden can be so ominous sometimes, she thought. Droplets began speckling her windshield, first just one, then three, then dozens, forcing her to roll up her window and flick on the wipers that squeaked across the glass. Her headlights caught the gleam of wet pavement twisting ahead, the road's surface turning slick and black as the tires hissed beneath her. He is right about one thing. These cliffs are scary, especially in the rain. As Willow navigated the sharp turns, she glanced at her rearview mirror. A pair of headlights sat a consistent, disciplined distance behind her. When she sped up, they sped up. When she slowed for a hairpin turn, they decelerated in perfect synchronicity. They weren't high beams. They were low, predatory glows that felt like eyes boring into the back of her skull. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She took a sudden, unannounced turn into a gas station to test them, but the car behind her, a dark, indistinguishable vehicle, simply glided past, disappearing into the curtain of rain. Just nerves, she whispered to herself, gripping the steering wheel until her knuckles turned white. Eden just got into my head. Willow pulled up to the cramped, peeling trailer park she shared with Mark. The contrast to the estate was jarring. Here, the air smelled of wet asphalt and garbage. She climbed the steps, her muscles aching, wanting nothing more than a warm embrace in the safety of a locked door. She stepped inside, and the smell of stale beer hit her immediately. "You're late," a voice barked from the couch. Mark didn't look up from the television. His grease-stained work shirt was unbuttoned, and an empty bottle sat on the coffee table next to a pile of unpaid bills. "I'm sorry, Mark. The weather was bad, and Eden, his son, wanted to talk about his father's vitals," Willow lied, softly dropping her bag. She walked over to him, reaching out to touch his shoulder. "I had a really weird drive home. I think someone was following." Mark shoved her hand away, finally looking at her with blurry, irritated eyes. "Always some drama with you, isn't it? You're late with dinner because you were chatting up some rich prick in a mansion, and now I have to hear about ghost cars?" He stood up, towering over her, his shadow far less elegant than Eden's, but twice as loud. "I'm hungry, Willow. Stop acting like a princess and get in the kitchen. You think because you work in a big house all day, you're too good for this place?" Willow flinched, her eyes stinging. She retreated towards the kitchen, the safety of her home feeling just as suffocating as the dark road she'd left behind. Across the street, a black Mercedes idled in the alleyway's throat, its engine a whisper beneath the hiss of rain. Eden reclined in buttery leather, the dashboard's amber glow catching the hollows of his cheekbones. Through Willow's grimy window, television light pulsed, blue, then white, then blue again, painting her silhouette as she moved like a paper cutout in a shadow play. The directional microphone on his dashboard captured everything. Mark's voice splintering the quiet, the dull thud of his fist against a table, Willow's half-swallowed sob that made Eden's pupil dilate with something between hunger and rage. He saw the silhouette of the man he considered a genetic error looming over his miracle. Eden's grip on the steering wheel tightened, a slow, dark smile spreading across his face. He wasn't jealous. He was offended. He was watching a masterpiece being handled by a vandal. "Don't worry, Willow," Eden whispered into the cool, climate-controlled silence of his car. "I'm going to take you away from all of this. He's making it so very easy to justify what happens next."